Welcome and very good evening. Small and medium enterprises, SMEs, are vital for Bangladesh's economy, creating an employment for 7.8 million people directly and providing a livelihood for 31.2 million people. SMEs can be considered the bloodline of Bangladesh's economy, contributing to 25% of the GDP. Bangladesh has been accelerated by its rapid digitization. BTRC esteemed that the number of internet subscribers had reached from more than 129 million right now. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, has reported that since the pandemic has begun, more than 70% of female-led business in Bangladesh were set up on Facebook, and with an increase of more than 65% in Instagram business owned by women. However, there is still a gap in knowledge on how to leverage Bangladeshi entrepreneurs by leveraging digital platforms to grow their business, and that the rate of adoption of digital platforms in semi-urban and rural areas are very low. With this scenario in mind, Meta, in partnership with Aspire to Innovate, ICT Division, Bangladesh Women Chamber of Commerce and Industry, BWCCI, and LightCastle Partner, is launching SheMeansBusiness in Bangladesh. Unlocking the potential of women entrepreneurs remain a crucial challenge of our time. That is why Meta launched SheMeansBusiness in 2016 as its long-term commitment to women's economic empowerment. The program supports female-led enterprises to enter the digital economy through skills training and business inspiration. Globally, SheMeansBusiness and its strong network of community partners have trained more than 1.5 million women across 38 countries. By launching the initiative in Bangladesh, we aim to support women entrepreneurs discover new possibilities and increase their economic stability. We hope to work together to build a different future for women in business, a more inclusive future, including the recovery of post-pandemic effect. Today, we have with us Honorable Selima Ahmad MP, who is also the president of BWCCI. We have Beth Ann Lim, who is the director of policy programs and government outreach for Asia Pacific at Meta, and also the global head of SheMeansBusiness program. Throughout the event, we will hear from these esteemed guests, and we will also enjoy a panel discussion. Without further ado, I would like to begin our main event. I would like to invite Mr. Rezwanul Haque Jami, head of eCommerce at ICT Division, to present the opening remarks for today's event. Mr. Rezwanul Haque Jami.
Thank you, Mr. Shahriar Hassan. I hope I am audible. In today's auspicious event, I welcome all of you, our colleagues from Meta, LightCastle Partners, and BWCCI, Honorable Chief Guest of this program, Ms. Selima Ahmed, MP. Welcome to you. Today, we are on the brink of fourth industrial revolution, and Bangladesh, as a country which is on the cusp of graduating from LDC to a developing nation, the government realizes that until or unless women, 50% of our manpower, until or unless gender equality is ensured in every level of being in the government or in the life, progress will not be sustainable. And a big part of that progress is ensuring equitable livelihood. We have seen during the pandemic period, almost half of the micro and small cottage entrepreneurs in Bangladesh resorted to online means. And a big part of that online drive to bring their businesses online was through social media, specifically tools like Facebook and WhatsApp. However, there is a steep learning curve for these first-time entrepreneurs who are coming online or digitally. And that's why both the government as well as Meta realized that there needs to be specifically the entrepreneurs who are trying to scale their businesses up in the web domain. We are very happy to partner up with Meta with their already established SheMeansBusiness platform. We have come to know that from 2016, SheMeansBusinesses have transformed millions of women all across the globe, specifically in developing countries, through capacity development using tools like Facebook and different tools within Facebook to bring their businesses online. I hope this is a journey that we are starting in Bangladesh. I have come to know that a limited number of women entrepreneurs were selected for the inaugural capacity development training drive. However, based on the success of these women, they are scaling up their business or the successful outcome of this capacity development, Bangladesh government as well as Meta will collaborate. I hope will collaborate in future to scale up this program so that we can bring in much more, thousands of women in Bangladesh who are striving to establish their livelihoods online into SheMeansBusiness. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to collaborate with you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jami, for your valuable remarks. We have with us the Director of Policy Programs and Government Outreach for Asia Pacific at Meta, who is also the Global Head of SheMeansBusiness. Beth Ann Lim, I would like to invite Ms. Lim to present your remark.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, distinguished guests. I'm Beth Ann Lim, the Director of Policy Programs and Outreach for Asia Pacific at Meta. It is my honor to be able to join you virtually. I do wish I was there in person, but at least virtually at this important event where we are launching SheMeansBusiness in Bangladesh. I'm very happy to know that the Honorable Member of Parliament, Ms. Selima Ahmad, who is also the Chairman of Bangladesh Women Chamber of Commerce and Industries, is among us today. I would like to thank the Honorable MP and distinguished guests from the Government of Bangladesh, program partners, and more importantly, our amazing women entrepreneurs for joining us today and making this event a success. As we move on to the next slide, I am very honored to be able to have this role of not only working across Asia Pacific, but to be in the position to be the global head of SheMeansBusiness. I've been able to watch this program grow from a small idea in a few countries 6 years ago to what it has been able to become today. And that's why I'm so excited for SheMeansBusiness to start this journey in Bangladesh. SheMeansBusiness is Meta's long-term commitment to women's economic empowerment. We believe that we need to shine a light on women entrepreneurships, and really unlock that entrepreneurial potential. What we have seen is on the backdrop of the pandemic and COVID, the work that we do, the partnerships that we create are more important than ever. Because as economies, as people move through COVID, one of the key things that we want to do is ensure that as we build back, we build with an inclusive and resiliency to help support women entrepreneurship. One of the greatest honors that I have about being able to work with this program is that I have learned an important part about SheMeansBusiness. When female entrepreneurs start a business, they also hire more women. Women in turn educate their children, they give back to the community. So the work that we do is so important to shine a light on women entrepreneurship, because women give back so much, not just on an economic front, but on a community front. On the next slide. We know that small and medium businesses are vital for Bangladesh's economy, creating employment, providing livelihoods, and according to our partners at LightCastle, contributing 25% of the national GDP. During the pandemic, small and medium businesses in Bangladesh reported decreases in revenue and income, especially those bricks and mortar stores during closing down. Historical gender inequalities exacerbated the harsh impact on women and female entrepreneurs. But as you heard at the introduction, we also saw resilience, and we saw women make pivots in the way in which they would build their business and the way in which they adopted digital tools. To see that, from our analysis, that more than 70% of female-led businesses were set up on Facebook since the pandemic just shows you the ways in which women can adapt, or how more than 65% of Instagram businesses are owned by women. This just goes to show that today's launch in Bangladesh of SheMeansBusiness is at a critical time. It's at a time when we need to collaborate and work together with government, with private, with partners who care about shining a light on women entrepreneurship. And that's why I cannot be more proud than to join you today. We want to build on the momentum of the adoption of digital tools to continue to further help women entrepreneurs. Next slide. Since 2016, yes, we've trained more than 1.5 million women, but we just believe the work has just begun. We think that we are better together as partners, as we commit to make sure that there's an inclusive and an economic recovery that is inclusive of all regional women, women from cities, wherever they may need help to learn digital skills training to thrive. In Bangladesh, we are excited to partner with ICT's division Aspire to Innovate, Bangladesh Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industries, and LightCastle Partners. Partnership is the fundamental foundation of the way SheMeansBusiness is able to grow. And yes, this is just the beginning of a partnership. Through our collective partnership, we know that we can help ready women with the digital skills and tools necessary to continue to grow and build the future of their business. I just want to say in closing, it is such an honor to be a part of this launch today. The importance and the power of SheMeansBusiness as we start to build the program and we're able to go from strength to strength is critically important so that we can ensure that we build back more resilient, inclusive for the digital future. Thank you so much for including Meta today, and I look forward to all that we will accomplish. And I hope my next time that I'm able to speak with everyone and the entrepreneurs is that we can do this in person. And I'd love to hear your stories and be inspired. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lim, for talking to us about the Meta's initiative, especially SheMeansBusiness, and how Bangladeshi women entrepreneurs can benefit from it. It's our great pleasure that we have Honorable Selima Ahmed MP as our chief guest today. She is the Vice Chairperson of Nitol Niloy Group and the founder and president of Bangladesh Women Chamber of Commerce. She was elected as a member of parliament from Kumilla 2 in 2018. She also served as a board member of state-owned Jonta Bank Limited, and she is a former board member of Sonali Bank Limited. In 2014, she received the Oslo Business for Peace Award for her contributions in business sector. She is a global ambassador of the International Alliance for Women. I humbly request Selima Appa to present your remarks and to inaugurate the SheMeansBusiness program from Meta in Bangladesh.
Thank you so much. It's truly an honor for me to be present here. And SheMeansBusiness is the right word. Absolutely, we women knows business. Today, when we are talking about Bangladesh, Bangladesh, as we know, that we have made significant progress under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, and we are maintaining a steady economic growth even during our this COVID situation. And one of the reasons is women's participation in the economic arena. And when we mention about economic arena, it is about entrepreneurship. And Bangladesh Women Chamber of Commerce and Industry is working for the development of women entrepreneurs from 2001. As we know that there are lots of challenges within a male-dominated environment. So women's entrepreneurship is not only a source of income generation, but also lead a path to achieving self-reliance. So when entrepreneurs contribute to the socio-economic development of the country, as well as take on increasing leadership roles in economic and social life. Women are half of the population, yet they are thinly represented in the business world. And during COVID situation, we have seen that how digital world opened the arena of more entrepreneurship. We have learned that it's not only physically you can sell your product, but there are so many ways through digital arena that you are able to do your business. But there are need to bring policies, a favorable policy, so that women entrepreneurs can grow and flourish. Globalization and the innovation of digital tools has broadened business opportunities for women by facilitating across to new markets and simplifying business operation. And national policies have also sought to provide opportunities for women's wider participation in trade and businesses. For example, the government of Bangladesh, a 8-5-year plan outlines commitment to support women in business planning, marketing, skills enhancement, and financial management. The plan also includes support for women, such as linking them with financial institutions, arranging one-stop support services at local level, and business incubator services, and the promotion of ICT and social media-based information dissemination. In implementing its Digital Bangladesh vision, the government of Bangladesh instituted many initiatives that support women in businesses. Supporting this initiative, the government has opened union digital centers. So when you go to any upazila or in union, small villages constitutes of union. And in each union you will find digital centers. And it's interesting that when we are talking about the entrepreneurship, and when also entrepreneurship will flourish with mobility. And as a member of parliament, I remember that in some areas where women are traveling in the night time, and for more mobility, we have put a CCTV camera, and who is going to monitor it? It's the union digital center. So thanks to the government for doing so. That's why we could also bring safety for the mobility of the women. The government has undertaken several training programs for women to develop them into IT service providers and call center agents. The digital economy is shaping and expanding worldwide. But women still face many challenges to realizing the promised benefits of the digital economy. I do remember, and also still we found in Bangladesh Women Chamber that we have 7,000 members, but how many have email ID? Still there is a fear of using that internet. A smartphone, sometimes I say, has spoiled because it becomes so easier that people don't want to use or take the benefits of opening an ID, email ID, and operating. So these are the small things, but this actually take behind. And I'm very happy that Meta, who has come forward to work in Bangladesh, and I can guarantee that when you work with women, and especially with Bangladeshi women, you'll not only feel proud, you'll feel so accomplished, you'll feel so content, and you'll feel that, wow, why we haven't worked it earlier. So that's, I'm definitely going to work. So some of the recommendations I would like to say, because I would like to take this opportunity. I'm a policy maker, but more than that, I'm an advocate for women's economic development. So I always take myself as a development activist. So improving digital and financial literacy and understanding of an enabling digital economy environment is very important. We need to talk. We need to talk with women. We need to talk with the groups so that they understand what it is. And simplifying a complex digital economy environment, how we can simplify it, how we can make it reachable. So that is important. Reducing persistent barriers for women to participate in the digital economy, how we can do it. Even, as a parliament, I found there are so many fake Facebook ID, and we found so many abuses and so many negativity. We found as a woman, sometimes you feel so down because so many negativity comes out. Even with your photo, with your name, a fake ID is there, and then it becomes very difficult to ultimately to say it's not me. So by the time many things are ruined. Existing initiatives to support women in the digital economy, that whatever the initiatives we have, that needs to be implemented. Sometimes there are lots of policies, lots of good things are there, but that initiatives are not taken to implement that one. So that's why business associations, government ministries, and civil society organizations who are currently giving training to support greater participation in the digital economy should come forward and more work together. Advocacy initiatives are also very important. We have seen bKash, several online payment gateways of Bangladesh Bank, and a personal retail account which offers a new form of transaction, uses biometric identification and has reasonable costs, higher limits, and a dedicated mobile SIM card. And eCab, the dual currency card, has been introduced for eCab members, which has no annual fees and bank account. So these are the good things which is coming up. The government also introduced, say, cash incentives to improve exportation within the IT sector. And also, if you know that the government has allocated Bangladeshi 100 crore taka for startup. So there is also an opportunity where we can get seed capital without no interest from the government, if anyone would like to come into the digital work and start and have a startup company. The existing e-commerce ecosystem does not fully facilitate women's participation. Access to digital devices, reliable internet infrastructure, payment services, and logistic services are critical, but remain under-supported and underdeveloped for many communities, especially in rural areas. This is also very important, where we found that, Bangladesh, I say actually it's a rural hub. So if we only think about the urban areas, then we are going to make a big mistake. So we have to think about the rural areas. So rules and regulations sometimes we found very complex and need to be simplified or adapted for micro and small businesses. It is important that the experience and unique challenges of women are considered while improving the economic and e-commerce ecosystem, business environment, and regulations. Because foreign women entrepreneurs, or for foreign women in Bangladesh, in a country where the government is supporting every time, but where in a country, and also not only in Bangladesh, all over the world, women faces domestic violence. There are still child marriages. There are still women having early childbirth. So how we can bring women into our entrepreneurship? But there are also ways where women can sit into her own places and start business. And a fantastic way is the coming into the e-commerce. I really congratulate Meta and A2I, LightCastle, everyone. My colleague Ridba Khan was working with me for this initiative, BWCCI, who is supporting me, and I should name everyone, but I do remember the team who has met me in the BWCCI office, that we all have a dream. The dream is to see that Bangladesh become a developed country. The dream is to see that there is no violences against women. The dream is to see equality, and that equality comes through opportunities. And when opportunities come, choices come. And we women would like to have choices. Choices whether we would like to fly in the sky, choices whether we would like to be in the ground, choices whether we would like to do whatever we want to do. And digital arena is that arena where we can always flourish, fly with our wings. And today is a day where I always say that we, as a woman, opportunities are very important, and today is a day with full of opportunities. And I'm also very thankful to everyone to give me this opportunity. So today I'm announcing with pride and with very happily the launching of SheMeansBusiness, an initiative of Meta, LightCastle, and A2I program, which also work for women entrepreneurs to build their capacity on digital literacy. Thank you all. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu, Bangladesh Chirojini.
Thank you very much, Selima Appa, for your kind remarks and for your launching SheMeansBusiness of Meta in Bangladesh. We are going to enjoy a lively discussion now from our esteemed panel of experts and policy actors. The panel will be moderated by Mr. Ifdad Ahmed Khan Muzlish, Managing Director of LightCastle Partners. I would like to invite the moderator to start the panel now.
Thank you, Jason Bhai. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Lim. Thank you, Selima Appa, for officially introducing this SheMeans or launching this SheMeans business program in Bangladesh. As the Managing Director of LightCastle Partners, one of the consortium members, we are very excited to be a part of this initiative, and together we believe we have much to do for the women-led SMBs in Bangladesh. Like I said, my name is Ifdad, and today it is my great privilege and honor to be moderating a panel with some distinguished panelists, and we will basically be focusing on the importance of incorporating digital tools for SMBs, or the small and medium businesses, business growth and sustainability at par with the 21st century global digital economy. And we will focus particularly on the women entrepreneurs. So first up, I would like to introduce our panelists, and I'm gonna spend a few moments to just to go over a bit of the background and the details, a few details of these panelists. I'll start with Mr. Hafizur Rahman sir, who's the Additional Secretary of Ministry of Commerce. Just a bit about his background. He joined the Bangladesh Civil Service in 1994 as Assistant Commissioner and Magistrate, and he served in the field administration at different capacities, including the Chief Executive Officer of different upojilas till 2008. Afterwards, he joined the Foreign Trade Agreement wing of the Ministry of Commerce in 2009, and in 2013, he joined as the Director of the WTO cell of the Ministry of Commerce. Sir also serves as the Deputy Coordinator of the Business Promotion Council, which is a public-private partnership initiated by the Ministry of Commerce with 6 other sector-based councils to strengthen the capacity of export readiness of sectors. Sir, we are very delighted to have you with us. Our next panelist is Mr. Dr. Dewan Mohammad Humayun Kabir, who is the Project Director and the Joint Secretary at A2I Division of ICT Ministry. Dr. Dewan Mahmood, excuse me, he is currently working as the Project Director of the UNDP Bangladesh supported A2I program and a Joint Secretary of the ICT Division, Ministry of Posts, Telecommunications and Information Technology. Previously, he was the Joint Project Director of A2I program, Component 1. Dr. Kabir started his professional life in field administration, holding key positions like Deputy Commissioner and District Magistrate, Ghazipur, from mid-2017 to 2019. He also served in the Bangladesh Parliamentary Secretariat and Prime Minister's Office as Director, Administration from 2013 to 17. Sir, we are equally pleased to have you with us today, and we look forward to learning more from you as we go along. Our third panelist is Ms. Ridma Khan, and she is a director at BWCCI. Ms. Ridma is the youngest elected director on the board of BWCCI. Alongside, Ms. Ridma is a director of Ambon Properties Limited, where she is in charge of marketing and branding of this real estate company. She also happens to be a social entrepreneur working towards the empowerment of women and marginalized disabled communities. Furthermore, she's into academia, working as a part-time faculty at North-South University, and even serves as an advisory consultant to government initiatives like Tothoapa, an ICT information portal and technical teachers training college. Ms. Ridma, we're very pleased to have you with us today. Finally, we have Ms. Shabnaz Rashid Dia, who's the head of public policy, Bangladesh at Meta. Her team is responsible for working with policymakers, civil society, UN partners, and industry to shape policies that empower communities coming online. Previously, Dia was the policy and advocacy lead for South and Southeast Asia and fellow at Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, based out of Seattle. She has 14 years of experience working at the intersection of technology, international development, and public policy with organizations such as the World Bank and USAID, and supported governments in South and Southeast Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. Dia, it's a pleasure to have you together today in this panel. And now these are the four panelists with whom we're basically going to be having a conversation. To set this context up, first up, I would like to paint the picture of where Bangladesh stands within the global economy with a particular focus on the MSME landscape. According to the World Bank, MSMEs constitute 90% of businesses and more than half of employment globally. In Bangladesh, its contribution to GDP is 25%, which has created employment for 7.8 million people directly, and it keeps on providing a livelihood for 31.2 million. The numbers are staggering. MSMEs historically have played a prominent role in Bangladesh's growth story. And over the years, this has accounted for 40% of manufacturing output and 80% of industrial jobs, according to Asian Development Bank in 2015. But with the recent COVID pandemic, it has created havoc, particularly for a lot of our SMEs. But we are also trying to look at it from the other side, where we believe this has revealed the vital role digital technologies can play in enabling businesses, communities, and individuals to connect, function, and thrive. To that end, ensuring that micro, small, and medium enterprises with digital tools is particularly crucial in markets like Bangladesh, because MSMEs effectively fuel economic growth and spur a lot of job creation. The COVID-19 in particular has presented specific challenges for our economy. In 2020, unfortunately, Bangladesh, for the first time since 1975, saw the GDP growth rate tank down to its lowest, which was 3.5%. Now, these MSMEs were especially impacted, with multiple surveys showing that MSMEs in Bangladesh reported decrease in sales, revenue, income during the COVID-19 crisis. Now, according to one report, one latest report, which was published by DAI, and it was titled The Insights from Emerging Markets, MSMEs and Digital Tool Use Amidst the COVID-19 Pandemic, I'm going to cite some key statistics based on which we will be starting the discussion with our panelists. And we find that vast majority, approximately 95% of these MSMEs reported that their sales decreased during the COVID-19 period compared to a normal typical year. And among these businesses, among these 95%, more than half, roughly about 68%, reported that their sales decreased by more than half of a typical year. These are alarming statistics. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, some MSMEs in Bangladesh have either begun using or increased their use of digital tools. For instance, according to the 2020 Global State of Small Business Survey, which is run by Meta, almost half of all the surveyed SMBs in Bangladesh generated over 25% or more of their sales digitally. And 24% reported that their proportion of digital sales increased compared to before the COVID-19 pandemic. These survey findings make sense in the context of Bangladesh's estimated 28% internet penetration rate, but more importantly, they show the untapped digital transformation potential among Bangladesh's MSME sector. Now, in light of this, I would first like to invite Mr. Hafizur Rahman, Sir, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Commerce, to kindly share your thoughts, like how you and as an institution from the ministry can support our SMEs, and in particular the women SMEs, to face the current challenge and accelerate this recovery. Could you please give some examples of how your institution in terms of policy or programs is working towards an inclusive economic recovery? So sir, that's my first question to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ibdat Khan Moslish. I believe you can hear me properly. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk in this August gathering, especially the launching ceremony of SheMeansBusiness by Meta. I congratulate Meta and all the participants here who are here to launch these nice programs. Thank you so much. First, you know that we are going through a transition period for digital economy in Bangladesh, especially due to COVID-19 pandemic. We have got a huge rise in the digital economy, especially in e-commerce. During COVID-19 period, we had to go through different kind of crisis and had to face a different problem, and also had to devise many issues with involving entrepreneurs to provide services door-to-door by e-commerce. So during this pandemic, e-commerce was an issue that supported not only the people, but also a lot of entrepreneurs in the country. And during this period, a huge number of men and women, both entrepreneurs, joined in this online trading system. You know, by the able leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, we have been implementing the Digital Bangladesh Vision, and it is a target to reach to digitize almost all the services within the government and trading systems, so that people get services easily. As this seminar is targeted to women especially, I like to mention that the Ministry of Commerce, on behalf of the government, implementing different kinds of projects and also formulated different policies to support the women entrepreneurship in digital commerce. I was involved with different policy issues like digital commerce policy, National Digital Commerce Policy 2018, and last one digital commerce SOP that was formulated on July 2021. But I like to mention that as we found that a huge number of women entrepreneurs has already joined in this digital trade. They have joined by the initiative taken by us, not that totally true. They have joined in different ways, by their own initiative, by support from different associations, especially I like to mention that eCab and other associations, they helped a lot to sensitize them, to get them literate in digital world and how to treat. These issues helped. We had done some policies. So, you know, that's our Honorable Parliament member, Selima Ahmad, already mentioned that in our 7-8 5-year plan and Vision 2041, and everywhere we have the policy outlined there to facilitate women. But to get them on board in trade needs some direct support. That has been done by different projects and different associations. We have one project, I'd like to mention that that's support e-commerce entrepreneurs for capacity building. That's called E-Banijjo Korbo, Nijer Byabsha Korbo. We have already been trained around more than 5,000 entrepreneurs. Almost half of them are women. And we have the target to do it by this June. More than 7,000 entrepreneurs will be trained for this digital economy. And we have another regional program supported by Enhanced Integrated Framework that's being implemented by Enhanced Integrated, UNESCAPE, especially for women entrepreneurs in digital commerce. They provide, in collaboration with Bangladesh, especially the Ministry of Commerce. They provide training for women entrepreneurs, advanced level training, women entrepreneurs, to trade in cross-border area. That means they can trade in international world. They know how to put their products, how to market their products in the international world. Those kinds of trainings are being provided. We have the policy. When we take any projects, we have the policy that's the women participation within these projects or initiative should be remarkable. We target at least 30% of the participants that should be women in our projects. And also those the projects we have been formulating. We have another project called Regional Connectivity Projects. We have one component for women entrepreneurship development, where we provide support to women entrepreneurs in agriculture trade, online marketing, and also digital services. So we are providing that kind of training to them. I believe some other organization I like to mention that there are a few women association like Women in eCommerce. They have a huge number of members in their association. They provide different kinds of services like awareness development and some kind of technology that how they can come into the digital commerce. Presently, we know that through Facebook, what we call the app commerce, we have more than 3 lakh participants, and majority of them are the women entrepreneurs, because the women entrepreneurs, they feel it comfortable to work with Facebook instead of preparing a website or going through a big business. They can start easily the business through Facebook and these kinds of social media. That helps them a lot. The problem that I face that's when we are going through a study with UNCTAD for identifying the challenges of in Bangladesh, challenges for digital commerce. We found that there are few challenges. One major challenge for women entrepreneurs is to access to internet and literacy of digital device, that how they can operate the digital device and how they can get the digital device. It's both two issues. We know the digital divide in our country is a major issue. We can provide the internet to the rural level, but they must have some kind of devices, and they know how to operate those devices. These are the areas that they need a huge amount of support from different organizations, either it is policy and practical supports also. I found many, when we asked them in different training organization, training program, they said that they have problem to access with trade license because the women, they like to do business from their home. So when they go for a trade license, they need to go to office, they need to show that they have an enterprise, they have showroom or something, but our trade license system has don't have that kind of facilities yet. We have requested our organizations, such as local government organizations, to give free, easy access to those women who like to register their business through online. You know, that's only one system as local government ministry has established to get trade license through online. Also, there are some other problems to access to finance is one other issue, because every businessman, they need to go to to find some fund from other sources. There is no special window in the banks that they can provide finance to the small entrepreneurs, especially the e-commerce, because also the e-commerce entities, they cannot initially register their business in the stock market. Therefore, they have a problem with funding also. Some e-commerce entities recently, they are getting funds from international investors. But number of those e-commerce entities are very few. I believe if our women entrepreneurs, they know that how they can get attract fund from international investors, or they can raise funds from local investors, then that can help them to go ahead. Ministry of Commerce is with you, with the entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs all the time. We believe that any policy, any project that is necessary to support their business, Ministry of Commerce will be always with, besides them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hafizur, sir.
Excuse me, I have another formal program. I'm visiting our in a training program in BWCCI. I have another program. I'll be able to speak only for a minute.
Sure, sir. I was just then going to come to you. Then since you just have like a couple of minutes, sir, can you kind of like paint the picture for us with respect to how the Ministry of ICT has been running numerous projects and programs that aim for whole of society digitalization? What are some tactics you have taken to ensure digitalization in terms of gender inclusiveness and sensitivity? Sir.
Thank you so much for giving me scope to speak in this very August program. I was just very thankful to Honorable Chief Guest of today's programs and the partners, especially those who are involved, the moderator and our Additional Secretary, Minister of Commerce, Hafizur Rahman, and Ridma Khan, Director, BWCCI, and Shabhanas Rashid Dia, Head of Public Policy, Bangladesh Meta, and other people who are connected here. I'm really thankful to all of you. Especially, it is an honor for me and Atway as well. If you've gone through the just digitization process or e-governance process of our country that started with the Manifesto 2008 by Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she started the program with an inclusive program, and Atway was the key role player while developing the e-commerce and e-services. We have started our journey through creating the digital centers. Currently, we have more than 8,000 digital centers, having 50% of them are women. We are currently providing them training on e-commerce, providing them fintech, providing the other business entrepreneurship. And besides, we have other programs as well, how we can make them sustainable. And as well as the, so there are other programs in the Ministry of ICT, that is Ministry of ICT Division, like Startup, Company Limited, Idea, and so on, so on. So you have gone through the papers in the yesterday, then it is moving in am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now you are. You got cut out for a few seconds there.
Thank you so much. I congratulate all of you who are connected and who are being our partner. I have a call, so I have to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dewan, for your valuable time. We wish we could have more of you in this discussion. It was quite interesting what you were painting over there, but yeah, we look forward to having you some other time.
Thank you.
Selima, I think I can see your hand raised up. Do you want to share something, Appa?
I just wanted to say that ATY has been a great partner, but we actually, although we are saying it's an inclusive way, we are working on it, and there are lots of women also getting involved into it. But something tangible we would like to see, something new in numbers we would like to see, something really in big number success stories we would like to see, because we are always treated as a minority group, and still we are in a minority position. So that is what I'd like to see, to make it a bigger, and we would also like to be into the bigger platform.
Thank you, Appa. I think that was very useful. Thank you for sharing that thought, and inshallah, hopefully together, we do believe that together we can definitely come up with some tangible numbers as we go along with this SheMeansBusiness program in Bangladesh and even beyond. Ridma Appa, so I've got you lined up for my next question. Now, before I ask you the question, I would like to point to some statistics that I have come across from the report that I was sharing in the initial stages of my moderation. Research findings on women-owned MSMEs in Bangladesh tells us that sales decreases and business closures are nearly at the same rates as that of men-owned businesses. So it's very close, 90% versus 88%, something along those lines. However, among this 98% of women-owned SMEs that have reported their sales to be decreased, we also observed that they lost about 90% of their, when the businesses were closed, there were about 90% of these businesses versus the main businesses that got shut off due to COVID-19 pandemic were roughly at around 88%. So either in terms of sales decrease or in terms of business closure, the numbers were kind of at the same. Now, in light of that, how is your institution from BWCCI APA, would like to know, contributing to mitigate this digital divide among the women-led SMEs? Can you talk us through some of your projects and initiatives? And I think that's going to help us understand this discrepancy, even though there is, as the previous panelists have already shared, like, how is this kind of like conflating at this, APA?
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank Meta, A2I, the ICT Ministry, LightCastle for organizing this wonderful August gathering. Though it's virtual, I am actually, it's an absolute honor to be here. I would also like to thank the chief guest, Selima Ahmad, Honorable Selima Ahmad, Honorable MP, and also Beth Ann, who has actually been, who have provided excellent views and a very comprehensive view about what's going on. And also to my fellow esteemed panelists, it has been a very dynamic conversation so far, and I look forward to adding what I can in my little way to this. So before I move on to answering your question, I'm just going to very lightly touch on what our organizations does. My name is Ridma Khan. I am a director of Bangladesh Women Chambers of Commerce and Industry. We were founded in 2001, and we were the first woman-centric chamber of commerce in the country. And now we are the only woman chamber of commerce which works nationwide. So basically, there are two ways we have been serving our members. We started with 24 members, and now we have almost 7,000 members all over the country. And it ranges from macro to micro, SMEs, and also to established exporters. So we have quite a lot of diversity when it comes to it. So there are two ways we are actually serving our members. One is providing them capacity and capacity and skill building exercises through trainings. So we've conducted almost trainings in 64 districts, and we've trained around 55,000 plus women already. Other than that, the other thing that we do is advocacy, and advocacy has actually rendered wonderful results for us when it comes to providing for women entrepreneurship and development of women economic empowerment. We have provided and managed our dynamic diversity. Advocacy has paved the way for many government policies, including providing collateral-free loan for women entrepreneurs, separate allocation of 100 crore at the national budget. So we have been working towards economic empowerment of women for a very long time, 20 years to be precise. Now, I come to your question. We spoke about the digital divide. Now, this is a question that traditionally the organizations, also the women organizations, and I'm also speaking for business organization, male and female, have not been tackling until the COVID-19 pandemic forced us to. But I would say that BWCCI actually was a little ahead of its time, even if it was just marginally. The digital divide, from what I understand, is basically the differing amount of information and access to digital services that men and women have. And this is actually very pronounced in South Asia. So I think women are 26% less likely to have access to digitalized services. And I think I just read an article in The Economist which said that $23 trillion would be added to the global economy if we could incorporate and eliminate this gender divide. So it was actually 2019, much before the COVID-19 hit Bangladesh, that Bangladesh Women Chambers of Commerce and Industry started understanding that this is an area that we need to focus on. And there was a point where we decided that this is an area where we are lacking, and this is an area which requires a lot of development. And we have conducted, as always, we started off with the research of the ideas of what are the barriers, what are the potential challenges that women entrepreneurs are facing in Bangladesh, and especially what is it that is preventing the digitalization of their business. So we started off with a few focus group discussions with the relevant stakeholders, including policy dialogues with the ICT ministry, then with the media personnel, with the entrepreneurs who are facing these problems, to understand the surface of the issues. And the last couple of years, if you actually see, then Bangladesh has been hit with a rapid growth of internet connectivity. And there has been a boom in the F-commerce, as we call it, the Facebook commerce. I think globally, 1 billion women entrepreneurs have joined Facebook commerce, as we say. They have started selling using Facebook. And as we were going through this research, as we started doing the research, COVID-19 hit. And I think our urgency enhanced, and we started looking into it because a lot of our members were very, very badly hit. And the ones who were in the beauty or the fashion industries were majorly hit. They have 2 festivals, which are their prime selling points, which I would say the Eid and Pohla Boishakh. And I think COVID-19 hit Bangladesh in March 2020, which was right before Pohla Boishakh. So they already had their production lines sorted. They were already invested in it, but they could not sell it because of the lockdown. So the ultimate idea was, how do we actually recover these losses? And majority of them turned to F-commerce, Facebook commerce. And they started buying and selling on online. And I think during this time, there was such a big boom that we decided this is the perfect time to continue with our research. And what we started doing first, we started developing and distributing a questionnaire. We also did a kickoff workshop with the stakeholders. We started talking about what are the issues. We brought in the Bikash and Nagod and the other financial institutions which are connected to it. We also brought in the banks. We spoke to the women entrepreneurs themselves. And after a lot of work, we actually did 7 FGDs in the 7 divisions. We basically came up with a recommendation list. We started finding out what are the problems. We came with the recommendation list. We provided a policy paper, and then we actually submitted to the relevant ministries. And I am very pleased to announce that most of these policies that we actually recommended were adopted and addressed immediately by ICT industry, and we have already started seeing the results of it. We have a very, very supportive government system. The Honorable Prime Minister has always been looking out for women entrepreneurs, and I am very happy to announce that all the male organizations, which are even though now male-centric, have always been very gender sensitive, and I think that has enhanced over this regime as well. So to answer your question, I think there are many challenges that women-centric businesses tend to face more than male, and these are all invisible challenges. We actually were the organization which has submitted the country's first ever woman business agenda, the national business agenda. And in our research, as we were researching that, we started looking at what are the challenges that women entrepreneurs face. And it was not access to finance. When we initially started the research, we thought it would be access to finance, it would be skill and capacity training. It was the patriarchal notions. So I think when a woman's business closes, it's much more difficult. They have much more challenges to reopen it than that of a male counterpart. And also in relation to getting loans or access to finance, there have been traditionally women have a much more difficult time in accessing the finance than males do. So though the statistics might not actually provide a more diverse picture, I think there are certain invisible challenges that women entrepreneurs face that males don't. Yes.
Great. No, thank you, Ridma, for sharing so much information, and the kind of research that you're doing, the policies that you're trying to institute, it's really remarkable. And we hope, they go on to see the light of day as Bangladesh progresses to become an advanced economy, as our Selima was saying. I'm also mindful of the time. I know we have about 10 minutes, and I'm coming to our final panelist today, Dia. Dia, before I ask you a question, if we have some time, then I'll ask for some quick closing remarks from every panelist. But a question to you, nevertheless, I wanted to ask. But before I ask you that question, let me share an interesting fact that I came across while I was, going through all these recent studies that were done on this sector. So again, referencing to the DAI study, we found that digital payment tools that came up, the digital payment tools like the Bcash and the MFS kind of apps, that came up on the top of the list of digital applications that are being used by the SMBs or the MSMEs, roughly about 49%. And this was followed by social media tools. And this is basically Facebook. In my experience of going to different rural settings while we do our, accelerator programs, if I ask the people, how many of you know about internet? They would be like this. How many people know about Facebook? They would go like this. So, it's basically shows that, among social media apps, Facebook is getting the highest traction, but then again, it's coming beyond or behind the digital payments tools. Now, if you dive a bit deeper into the data, you will actually find that there is this gap between men and women in terms of social media usage. And from there, what we have discovered is that women-owned MSCs basically reported using social media tools higher than men do. So men are mostly prone to using digital application tools versus women who are more used to doing social media. Some quick facts: Facebook apps, females 26%, males 25%. Other social media platforms, 13% females, 8% male, and other messaging apps, 24% women, 14% men, right? Now, this, from a policy-making perspective, I think opens up a lot of new opportunities, especially for programs like SheMeansBusiness, to also kind of see if this can be a penetrating point or may act as like an initiator of sorts to serve this group or teach them more about the applications of digital technologies. In light of that, Dia, can you talk us through the program, the SheMeansBusiness program? How is Meta working to advance economic development in Bangladesh? And how does it relate basically to the creation of SheMeansBusiness from your experience, Dia?
And this was a very dynamic panel as well. And thank you for having me here today to speak about these very important issues. If I start with the data point that you mentioned, that I think a big part of that actually reflects on something that we call barrier to entry, right? Historically, when we look at data, looking at men and women and how they're accessing digital tools. And for the longest time, we know that the barriers that women face offline, so historical societal barriers, norm structures, household structures, decision-making power, those in many ways largely expand to online. It's the same barriers, a household owns one mobile phone. There is a difficulty around ownership of mobile phones because of difficulties around KYCs. So these are historical barriers that have existed for a very long time, and that has also transcended from offline to online spaces. So it is not surprising that we see those gaps when we're looking at these new kinds of data that are coming up. But specifically, when you talk about social media usage and how women-led businesses are using more social media than men are, it really points to that barrier to entry question, because it is very easy to start. You can be anyone, anywhere in Bangladesh today. You can be a housewife, you can be doing your agricultural work during the day, you can be a garments worker, you can be the mother of 2 children, you can be a working professional, you can be anyone today. And if you have any kind of creativity or any kind of skill that you want to use in a commercial way, you're able to use, you can pop open an Instagram or a Facebook page and you can start your business. And I think that was the very ethos of us realizing that we need to continuously invest in making these barriers to entry very low. When the barriers to entry become very high, we will see the same gaps become larger and larger and larger, because it's too difficult to start that kind of business. So I think that's a really important call out based on that you mentioned. From a Meta perspective, We have been working in Bangladesh for a very long time. And, we have seen over the last couple of years, especially during the pandemic, this explosion that has happened in more and more small and medium businesses starting up in Bangladesh. We have had a very illustrious history of SMEs. It's not a new thing. I have grown up buying things from SMEs my whole life. But then when the digital world has come, when the digital sort of ecosystem, digital economy became more and more prominent in Bangladesh, digitization got realized in Bangladesh, we saw this very interesting shift. And we saw this whole new group of businesses that are opening up in Bangladesh and in other parts of the world. In fact, our recent analysis shows that over 70% of women-led businesses in Bangladesh started actually during the pandemic. So that's a huge growth, right? We're also finding that over 40% of entrepreneurship groups that started during the pandemic was actually started by women. So there is definitely this again goes back to this barrier to entry piece, where more and more women are finding it easier and safer to communicate online, to build these communities, to start their business pages, and to not be restricted by traditional barriers in being able to do so. And Meta feels that this is a really exciting space for us to work and a really exciting space for us to build more. I was recently in Bangladesh, and we met with these amazing female entrepreneurs, great businesses that are doing really good stuff. And we found that we met someone who said that actually I started as an idea. I was only making some crafts sitting at home, but then I got an order from London. And now I'm actually selling my things to clients in London. And so it actually not only just opens up an opportunity for us within the economy, but also shows how SMBs can become a part of our export story. And I know Bangladesh is looking at digital exports as a very big part of our next sort of 5 years growth. So reimagining how can SMBs and these online-based SMBs can become part of that growth story is also going to be an important area that we should be watching out for, particularly around these cross-border remittances, cross-border sort of trade corridors, and how does that kind of translate into the broader space. So I think those are all like opportunities that we want to invest in. We started SheMeansBusiness about in 2016. It is now live in 38 markets around the world. We are very excited that this is happening in Bangladesh because we feel that the women in Bangladesh, particularly women entrepreneurs in Bangladesh, are extremely resilient. They have seen some of the most egregious challenges, and yet they survive. They are very resilient. They're going out and doing things. They are not afraid, from jewelry making to baking cakes to sitting in your home and like doing home cooked goods to doing these cross-border businesses. Women are really leading that frontier. And I really feel the future of, when you look at small and medium businesses, the future of our digital economy, it's largely women. And that's something that we believe at Meta. And I think, more and more, I think our stakeholders in Bangladesh are also beginning to see the same thing. It is important, however, to distinguish kind of where in the broader commerce story Meta fits in. Because we are a technology platform, very much from a commerce perspective, we are almost like we are a communication platform, right? So if you look at the spectrum of commerce sites or commerce platforms, you have your traditional e-commerce on one side, which is your Daraz and Amazon, which provide an entire end-to-end service, including the checkout. And I'm glad you talked about sort of the payments, because that's really the ethos of a full-fledged e-commerce platform. And then you have, sort of more like a marketplace where people are coming and buying and selling stuff, and there's some level of fulfillment there. So that could be like a Shopify, for example, right? And that's your second model. And then you have the third part of the pillar, which is kind of where Meta fits in, which is essentially that we are providing a space, almost like a virtual storefront for businesses. We do not provide checkout options. We do not provide payments options, but we are providing that storefront that allows you to display your products, reach out to customers, and make yourself more visible. And I think the reason in many ways that women entrepreneurs in particular found social media more helpful is because it was so easy to reach customers. It wasn't that you had to set up a full store, which is a brick and mortar store. It wasn't the fact that you had to invest a lot of money into it. Building a website, those kind of technical skills were not required. You could easily reach your customers and get a very dedicated base simply by using this communication platform. And I think that's really where we see ourselves in Bangladesh, that we want to facilitate this communication, this effective communication between the businesses and the customers, and to be able to make sure that we create that one-to-one, this personalized experience around it. Last year we ran a survey and we found that 77% of the people who took the survey saw that they actually found out more about small businesses from the ads they saw on Facebook or from the content they saw on Facebook, which is great because it's exactly where we want them to be, that they're finding smaller business support, they're finding local economy, they're finding local businesses, local entrepreneurship support by using our platform. And I feel that is how we see ourselves to contribute more and more to Bangladesh by creating these ecosystems, these systems, these platforms, these products that makes it easier for the economy to grow locally, for jobs to be created locally, and most importantly, for women to find it easier to break traditional barriers and get online and do these businesses. So on that note, I think I will end my spiel. Thanks, Ibdat.
Dia, thank you so much. I think that was very useful what you shared. And I love the way how you painted or how you said, like, it's the ecosystem play at the end of the day. It's not just one aspect of anything that you're looking at. And I think that should be the ethos, or that should be the principle of all of us together as we look to scale up this program in Bangladesh. I think whatever I have heard in the past, about 50 minutes or so gives me a lot of hope. For us to work on. Like, there are a lot of things that are happening, but there's so much more to be done. And this can be done together with all the insights that have come about from today's discussion. I wish I had the time to go to each of you for the second question, but unfortunately, I don't think I'll be permitted that to do so. But I think it also shows that there's so much to discuss and deliberate on, and it only makes sense for us to, make this a series and keep these discussions going on and on, forward and forward, so that together we can look forward to a prominent Bangladesh. Before I sign out, I saw Ridmapa's hand up. Ridmapa, if you have any pressing point, please feel free to share.
No, I don't have any pressing point. I just want to add, yeah, I think where Facebook also comes in is that it provides the woman with an opportunity to work from home. And it is a very important thing, because you have your own responsibilities with the children and the work from home, and it provides them with an ability to even export from home. So I think there are two sides of the story when it comes to a woman's entrepreneurship journey, and one is the supply side and one is the demand side. So when it comes to the supply side, when we start speaking about their journey and what are their ways of doing it, I think Facebook and SheMeansBusiness is going to be an extremely important aspect to them, because there are many women who want to do businesses, who are extremely talented, but they just lack the digital knowledge of doing so. So I think this is going to be a fantastic project, which is going to bring all these dynamic women forward. And I am extremely happy with this collaboration. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ridmapa. And on that note, Rahman sir, Dia, Ridmapa, thank you so very much for being with us together in this panel and sharing your relevant insights. We promise we're going to work on everything that you shared and make it a series as we go along in our journey. With that, I formally conclude this panel discussion, and Jisan Bhai, I roll it back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ibdat Bhai. That was a lively and wonderful panel discussion. Thank you to our esteemed panelists for the very informative and lively discussion.